Guys, before we start this video, I just want to point out the craftsmanship and how clean everything is. The lines, how everything matches up with the factory front plastics. This is one of the best bumpers in the industry, and I've been installing a lot of these TMW parts on multiple styles of machines, and every time I do, I'm walked away impressed with the quality and craftsmanship that they put into each product. So this bumper, this is their design. There's been other ones that kind of copied it. This to me is the best one on the industry, no doubt. So let's get into it. Guys, what's up? Back again with another video. Today we got the Pro R in the house, and as you can see from the title and thumbnail of this video, we're doing a TMW front winch bumper, and we're accessorizing it with a worn AXON winch and some Baja Designs Onyx 6.
It's gonna be awesome.
It's gonna look great, and I think it's gonna be a really clean package on this new Pro R. Now, the new Pro R is really beefy. I'm excited to install some parts on this thing. I did notice that it already has kind of a built-in bumper here. This kind of goes down and mounts to the front plate, and we'll show you that once we take this plastic off. But overall, this is a great car and a great platform, and I can't wait to see this bumper on this machine because the way it is set up with the powder coat, it's gonna look really, really clean. So let's get to it. We'll pull off the plastic panel, then the bumper, then we'll install the first portion of the new TMW bumper. Now, first tool you're gonna need is a T40. I have it here on my impact driver, and we got 2 bolts on each side. So 2 more bolts on the other side, and that'll remove this cover. With that out of the way, you're gonna want to take off these 2 push pins that are sitting up top here. That connects this front fascia area to the bumper. Just gives it a little bit more stability for the front end. So we'll take both of them off, and then we can focus on the actual bumper itself. All right, now we can take off the 4 bolts that are holding this bumper. I already took off the top ones, as you can see them right there. We have new hardware in the back, so we're not gonna use this hardware, but it's really simple to get this guy out. Holy crap.
Take it easy.
That's what happens when you're holding the camera with one hand and got this guy with the other hand. Jesus. So really simple in this machine. You don't have to finagle with any of the bolts for the arms or anything like that like you do on other machines. Hint, hint, my X3. On this one, it's just 4 threaded nuts that are built into the cage, or excuse me, the frame. So I think it's a great design that Polaris came out with. Furthermore, you can see here the differential is pretty much completely exposed for you to easily remove. So I'm assuming there's more bolts on the sides, and you can pull the whole differential out this way instead of firing it through one of the sides here. So obviously you'll probably take off some axles, and you have to, you know, disassemble the area of the wheels on both sides. But ultimately, the differential coming out this way is going to be pretty huge for racing, because it seems like it's going to be a lot easier to get out. So pretty cool. Now here we got the first portion of the bumper. This is going to mount up on the car, and then obviously the winch is going to mount up to this. I think the best way to do it is actually mount the winch first before you install it on the car. You might need a helper because with the winch is going to be a little heavy, but first we'll install the winch. So I think the best feature about this new AXON winch is it doesn't have that big giant relay box that most other winches have, which kind of can be a pain in the butt to find a space for it. So I really like that about this winch. I know on my Can-Am X3 and the winch that I have, I did have to find a spot for that relay box, and it wasn't easy. The Polaris has a little bit more space, but yeah, it was definitely a pain in the butt, and the fact that it's built into this winch now, you don't have to worry about that, is great. So pretty much you're gonna have just power and ground, the big large red and black cables going to the winch, and then the winch also has a couple connectors so you can control the winch from the inside of your vehicle. So really cool. This also has the option of a Bluetooth module that you run in line, and we'll probably show you the wiring towards the end of this video. We won't go step by step because this video is mainly about the bumper, but yeah, we'll show you the wiring and how I routed everything. Overall, a really clean setup from Warren. All right, with that bolted down, we go ahead and set this up on the actual vehicle. Now we can mount up the winch with the new hardware they give you. These are Allen's, I believe they're 5/16 head, and we'll go ahead and put them on the machine. Really easy.
What did you say?
Motherfucker. Oh my God, it's heavy. Son of a bitch. Man, this is not light. This is heavy.
You said it would be easy.
Well, I was wrong.
All right, that's a good start. These are gonna be a little bit harder. So these top bolts, you're gonna want a long extension, and you might want to run it by hand first, but I know what I'm doing, I think. So those bolts are on there. I'm gonna tighten them by hand, probably torque them down while I'm at it, and then we'll mount the other piece that goes over the top. All right guys, at this point I wanted to show you guys how I did the wiring. Now the wiring is very close to the line of the arm, but we'll avoid it just fine. It's kind of just stick it up a lot more because it has these you know, these boots that go over the terminal ends. The wiring, I feel like I'm gonna route it upwards like this and maybe follow the line up here in between the radiator and the front fascia, and then up towards the top where the wiring starts coming out for the headlamps, and then follow that wiring into the machine's cabin. And I might tape this in some nice cloth tape to you know, so you can't see it very well. That way it'll be nice and black and you won't have a big red eyesore of a red cable. So I think that's the route I'm gonna go with. As long as it's out of the way of anything that's gonna be moving, I think he'll be just fine. I think I like that idea more than running it through there. Same thing for the Onyx 6. I have to actually make that harness. I haven't got to that part yet, but that's gonna mount here, and I will probably do the same thing. It's gonna route up here and then goes towards the back of this firewall into the cabin. So I think from here we can go ahead and move on. We'll mount up the plate. Very simple. It's 1, 2, 3, 4 bolts. You're gonna make sure you put the rope through the bumper cover, as well as the ferro lead is gonna go on there when you put the bolts on, or the chingazo. I don't know what you call it.
Do you know what I am saying?
So this thing is gonna look absolutely sick because it matches the line of the OEM plastic that used to be here. I think it's gonna look really good, and I think it'll cover up, you know, the cableage that we got going on right there. We'll put that through there, and then we'll mount that this way. And I believe, look at that, it goes over the same plastics. Let's see here. Actually, it even gives you space to put the same push pins in. So they thought of everything. Shout out to the boys over there at TMW, always coming through with the good products. So very carefully, I'm gonna go ahead and smack that on there. And then we still got these push pins here we got put in. It looks like we're gonna have to pull the plastics this way though, because they don't exactly line up very well. But no big deal. I'll push that out from the, I'll push that from the backside forward, put those push pins in. You got 2 bolts here, the same Torx that you took off from the front fascia, the plastic piece. And then the bottom ones you actually don't need anymore. It's just a 10mm on each side, and you can pull these off and get rid of them. So let's get that done. Check that out. Look at the lines. Everything lines up really, really well. It all just feels like it's OEM. So I think this is the best bumper on the market if you want a winch. If you don't want a winch, TMW also makes a bumper that's more of a dune style, where it's nice and close to the front fascia to avoid, you know, those bowls. Oh my god, I almost fell. Idiot. Now there is grills that go in this section here, and a backing plate for the TMW logo. Those are currently at powder coat, but as you can imagine, they'll look really sick, and you'll be able to see them at the end of this video. Do yourself a favor, install the light and its mounting brackets onto the bumper before you put it on and mount it up, because it's kind of a pain in the butt to get your hand in there, put the nut on there, and then hold it with a wrench. You can pick up Baja designs on my website, as well as the bumper. There'll be links for that on the description, as well as the LP4s and the S8 40-inch that's up there. All overall are great products. I run Baja designs on my machine. We'll quickly go ahead and route some of the wiring. I'll finish this one up, and then I'll show you guys kind of where I ran the wires. All right guys, I got the wiring all set up. I want to show you guys. There is the connections at the winch, and those are gonna go up along the radiator. And as you can see, I wrapped the power and ground in cloth tape, and I'll link that cloth tape in an Amazon link for you guys, if I can find it still. It's been a while since I bought it. And then it routes upwards here. I might have to put another zip tie in this area. I think it'll be fine. Towards the center, and then you can see it there running into the grommet on the firewall, or the wall of the machine. It's not really a firewall, but you know what I mean. And that's gonna come out in that area there. So there's already an existing harness for the vehicle, the main harness for the 4 lamps, and then that's gonna route down this way. I decided to route the winch all the way to the battery, because they did give you plenty of cable for this Pro R or Pro XP or Turbo R. And it routes down along the ducting. On the left side of the ducting, there's an existing harness that you can zip tie to. So that routes that way. I cut a piece of the plastic so I could mount the cables nice and low, because if you don't, then this you know, adjuster for the seat may hit it. So you gotta kind of, you know, zip tie these as low as possible, as you can see there. Let me see if I can get there. So there's still about a, I want to say 3/4 of an inch before it rubs. I don't think it's gonna rub because it's zip tied right here to keep it nice and low, and that goes straight to the battery, power and ground. Now it's very important that you guys route this very carefully to avoid any metal that's gonna cause any issues in the future. So you don't want this big power cable to chafe anywhere or short out, because there isn't really a fuse that's provided from Warn in their winch kit. The cable is literally just a positive cable from end to end with no fuse in between, which I don't really care for, but that's what they gave us. And it is what it is. And so I got to make sure that it's not going to rub anywhere. So I made sure that I zip tied it along the existing harnesses, and anywhere that it rubs is literally rubbing against another harness or plastic. So that's very important, so this thing doesn't short out in the future and give my customer a headache. So that's the portion of the main cables. Then you also have the actual harness that connects to the switch, which is this guy. This is a very different switch that I'm used to seeing, but it's the same size when it comes to the dimensions of what the slot is going to fit in. Now obviously Polaris, Can-Am, and all the UTV makers are using the same style of dimensions for the switch, so this is going to pop in somewhere like that. Before I do that, I'm going to go ahead and plug it in for you guys. Let me show you that. So here's this guy. This is coming off the winch, routed the same exact way the power cables are. Now he did add the Warn Bluetooth module, so he can control the winch from his phone, which is pretty cool. That's just in line. So normally you would connect the switch to this, but now it's in line, so then the switch is going to connect to this portion here. So I'll go ahead and connect that. Boom. So what you're left with, depending on the model Warn winch that you buy, you may or may not be left with this auxiliary connection for a remote. So you can plug in a wired remote to this and control your winch in and out. So if you don't want to do it from here, you can actually do it from outside of the vehicle, depending on the situation you're in. And then you have this pretty much ignition on circuit, which you could tie in to your pulse bar. So if you guys are not familiar with the pulse bar has power, ground, and in the beginning, yeah. In the beginning, power, ground, and an ignition source. And maybe we'll do a future video, because some guys have asked already about the pulse bar. It's actually a really smart idea that Polaris engineered into starting with the Pro XP and now the Pro R and the Turbo R. It makes installing accessories a lot easier. You just grab ignition source from there, or I believe there is a stud on here that you could grab ignition from already. You could probably just do that.
The following day.
All right guys, so there it is, all finished up. I want to point out something on this bumper that may be different than what TMW shows on their install video or on their website, and that is the grills here on the sides. The customer decided to powder coat everything in red. I'm sure he didn't really know what goes where, and I would say normally this plate right here is actually the backing plate to the grill, because the grill doesn't have perfect holes for the rivets to go through, and this is kind of like a backing plate, so that doesn't move anywhere. So normally this is actually on the inside, but because he powder coated red, I thought it would look awesome on the outside, so I put it on the outside. Matches the grill. These would have been black, would probably match even better, but it looks amazing just like that. I'm really happy with the way that turned out. All right, so the winch came out amazing. It fits in there super clean. The wiring, I think I did a good job. And then the front here, the fair lead matches the color of the bumper from the factory. It's a great fair lead. The hook here, I'm not a fan of it. I'd rather see a Factor 55 style flat hook that lays flat. You'd probably lose about, I don't know, at least 2 inches of you know, sticking out right here. As you can see, the tire and the hook, the hook sticks out a lot more than the tire. But just like this, it does look amazing. I'm just thinking out loud for when it comes to approach angles, but amazing. It looks freaking awesome. The color match looks perfect, and overall the front end of the car is looking goddamn amazing. Thank you guys for watching. If you want to buy TMW parts, including this bumper and some of the lights from Baja Designs, go ahead and check out the website glifeutv.com. Support the channel by buying parts, merchandise, and whatever else you need for your UTV, because we got pretty much everything you need for UTV with some of the best brands in the industry, all USA brands. So let's get it. We'll see you guys in the next one. Stay dirty. Peace out.